Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Folks, buckle up, because the national media has done it again. They have taken one look at the best-built roster in the National Football League, scratched their heads, and somehow concluded that the fix for a team that doesn't have a single hole is to start trading away the exact players who make it great. I am not exaggerating. We are going to get into a full-blown tabloid-worthy trade rumor mess today. We are going to talk about a Pro Bowl snub that turned into redemption, and we're going to talk about the two names Bleacher Report wants gone from Denver before training camp even opens. If you think that sounds insane, that's because it is, and I've got the receipts to prove it. Before we dive into the chaos, if you're new around here, welcome to the family. This is the place where we break down Broncos football with a little bit of fire, a little bit of fun, and a whole lot of receipts on why the rest of the league keeps underestimating Denver. So do me a favor right now, smash that like button, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming this season. Now, before we get into the real meat of today's story, I want to know something from you, and I need you sound off in the comments below. There have been two things absolutely dominating my social media feed this week, and I need to know which one you would rather deal with. Option 1, you get launched, yeeted, sent flying through the air by a buffalo. Just like that poor grandpa at Yellowstone who got tossed 8 feet into the sky this past weekend. Pretend it's a freebie though, no broken bones, just a one-time trip through the air courtesy of an angry bison. Option 2, you get 2 straight weeks of explosive, uncontrollable stomach issues. The kind that's apparently sweeping the entire country right now. Which one are you taking? Personally, I'm getting yeeted by the buffalo and living to tell the tale. 2 weeks of stomach chaos would end my career. But let me know in the comments what you would choose, because I am genuinely curious how unhinged this fan base actually is. Okay, now let's get into it, because there is real, actual news, and it starts with a moment of vindication that Broncos fans have been waiting years for. Courtland Sutton was just voted by his own peers, the players who actually strap on the pads and go head-to-head with him every single Sunday, into the NFL's top 100 players list. Let that sink in for a second. Not a media panel. Not some analyst sitting in a studio guessing. His peers. The guys who line up across from him and know exactly how impossible he is to deal with voted him in. And they voted him in at number 68 overall. To put that in perspective, that means NFL players are on record saying Courtland Sutton is a better football player than former MVP Lamar Jackson. Say that again for the people in the back. This is Courtland Sutton's first time ever making this list, and honestly, it is way, way overdue. This is a guy who has been the definition of a true wide receiver one for years. Zero diva antics, zero drama, just an absolute technician who catches everything thrown his way and has been the security blanket for this offense through thick and thin. He's essentially been the right-hand man for this entire era of Broncos football, quietly putting up numbers and never asking for the spotlight, and now the spotlight found him anyway. But here's where it gets deliciously ironic, and I need you to really appreciate this. Rewind the clock exactly 1 year. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the very same analyst who just ranked Bo Nix at 18 on his quarterback rankings, published his list of who he believed were the 10 best wide receivers in all of football heading into last season. You will not find Courtland Sutton's name anywhere on that list. Not in the top 10. Not even in the honorable mentions. Nowhere. Zero recognition. Sound familiar? It should. Because it's the exact same story we told you yesterday about Bo Nix getting snubbed by the so-called experts. The national media looked right past one of the most productive, most reliable players on this roster, and yet here we are 1 year later, watching his own peers correct that mistake in the most public way possible. We were mad about it then. Now we get to sit back and laugh, because the players themselves just confirmed what Broncos fans already knew. Courtland Sutton was one of the best 100 players in professional football last season, which almost certainly means he was one of the 10 best wide receivers alive, whether Jeremy Fowler wanted to admit it or not. Now, it'll be interesting to track exactly where Sutton lands once the rest of this list rolls out, since these top 100 reveals tend to trickle down in tiers. Based on how these things typically shake out, there's a real chance 5 or 6 other receivers land above him. But even so, just remember, this is a guy who wasn't in Fowler's top 15 a season ago. And now he's a top 100 player league-wide, according to the men who actually play the game. Mark my words, we are going to see this exact same redemption arc play out with Bo Nix next year. He didn't crack Fowler's top 10 quarterbacks list this offseason, and I am telling you right now, 12 months from now, Bo Nix is going to be sitting comfortably in that top 10. And we are all going to get to say, we called it. All right, now let's get into the real headline of the day, because this is the part where the national media has truly lost the plot. Multiple outlets have Denver tangled up in a swirl of trade rumors right now, and I have to break down exactly why this is some of the most clueless roster analysis I have seen all offseason. It is becoming painfully clear that the so-called experts covering this league from the outside genuinely do not understand the value sitting inside Denver's own building. Here's the setup. Bleacher Report just dropped a big feature titled something along the lines of one trade every team in the league should consider making. And when you scroll through it, team after team gets paired with some glaring hole they need to fill. The Bills need this piece. The Chiefs need that piece. Every single team in the league has some obvious need identified, except for Denver. When Bleacher Report got to the Broncos, they couldn't find a hole to fill, because there isn't one. So instead, their big idea was to suggest the Broncos trade away 2 of their own good players, not add. Subtract, the first name they floated was Riley Moss. The second was Marvin Mims. 2 building blocks of this roster, both entering contract years, both apparently expendable according to a national outlet that clearly does not watch enough Broncos football. Let's start with the Riley Moss logic. Because on the surface, I understand where the thinking comes from. Denver used a first-round pick last year on Jaquan McMillian, a versatile cornerback who has been outstanding. We all remember when Chris Harris stepped in a couple seasons back while Riley was injured and looked like he never left the league. We know Pat Surtain is the best cornerback on the planet, full stop. We know defensive coordinator Vance Joseph has built a reputation for getting the absolute most out of every cornerback he coaches. So yes, on paper, this is an incredibly deep cornerback room, and I get why some outsider might glance at the depth chart and think there's a trade candidate sitting there. Then there's Marvin Mims, and the logic here is basically identical but applied to the receiver room. The reasoning goes, Denver already has Pat Bryant, a rookie Sean Payton himself compared to former Saints star Marquise Colston the moment they drafted him. They've got Troy Franklin, who has been visibly adding strength and improving every single offseason. And everybody knows receivers historically take a massive leap in year 3. Then you throw in Courtland Sutton just cracking the top 100, and oh yeah, casually, Denver also happens to have a receiver named Jalen Waddle now. So the theory is this receiver room is simply too crowded, there isn't enough money to keep everybody long-term, and somebody has to go. Except that part is flat out false. Denver absolutely has the cap flexibility to pay both of these guys if that's the direction ownership wants to go. But let's set that aside for a second and talk about why the entire premise of these proposed trades is completely backwards. Here's the actual math these outlets are ignoring. Both Riley Moss and Marvin Mims are widely expected to command something in the range of $18 to $20 million annually once they hit the open market. If Denver simply lets these 2 play out this final year of their deals and then walks in free agency next offseason, the Broncos are in line to receive 3rd-round compensatory draft picks for each of them under the league's formula. 3rd-round picks. For nothing. Just for doing nothing and letting the situation play out naturally. So when Bleacher Report suggests Denver should trade these guys away for what they're projecting as second or third round pick compensation, they are proposing the Broncos give up an entire extra season of production from 2 starting caliber players in exchange for something Denver is already going to receive for free next spring. That is not asset management. That is just giving away a Super Bowl caliber roster piece for absolutely nothing in return. The only scenario where trading either of these players makes any sense whatsoever is if a team comes forward offering a real legitimate first or second round pick right now, today, not some projected mid-round pick a year from now. Given how desperate teams like Detroit have become at cornerback after losing Terrion Arnold, you could maybe see a scenario where a team gets aggressive with an offer built around a late first-rounder or a premium pick swap. But short of a genuine first or early second-round offer on the table, there is no version of this where trading either of these players makes sense for a team with a championship window as wide open as Denver's is right now. And that championship window is exactly the point people are missing. Depth doesn't matter until suddenly it matters more than anything else in the world. Just look back at last season. Pat Bryant missed 3 games, including playoff time. Marvin Mims missed 2 games. Troy Franklin missed a regular season game and a playoff game. There was an actual stretch where Denver had multiple key receivers unavailable in the exact same game, and Bo Nix was out there throwing passes to Lil Jordan Humphrey in a playoff atmosphere. That is a break glass in case of emergency situation, and it happened. It's not some hypothetical fear, it already happened last season. So imagine how much stronger this offense becomes if Troy Franklin genuinely develops into your 5th option, which I personally believe he already is capable of being. Pat Bryant goes down, no problem, Mims steps in. Surtain needs a breather, no problem, the depth absorbs it. That kind of flexibility isn't a luxury, it's an insurance policy, and insurance policies only look unnecessary right up until the moment you desperately need one. The cornerback room tells the exact same story. 2 years running now, Denver's cornerback depth has been tested by injury because it is an incredibly physical position. Last season, Pat Surtain went through a shoulder injury against Dallas and later a concussion, missing what amounted to roughly 3.5 games total, including the back half of that Dallas matchup where Denver still somehow put on a defensive showcase without their best corner on the field. The year before that, it was Riley Moss missing 3 games, forcing Levi Wallace into extended action, and that was the stretch where Jameis Winston lit up the scoreboard and Jerry Jeudy set personal records against this very defense. Nobody wants a repeat of that. So here is the bottom line. When a team is sitting inside a legitimate championship window, that is not the moment to start selling off pieces of the puzzle for pennies on the dollar. Bo Nix's window is wide open right now. And in a league built on attrition, depth is worth more than almost anything you can put a draft grade on. Personally, I would take Riley Moss and Marvin Mims helping this team win a Super Bowl this season and then simply walking away in free agency for 0 draft compensation over trading them early for a first-round pick, only to turn around and desperately need a cornerback or a receiver later in the year with nobody left to plug the hole. So let me know down in the comments, am I completely on the right track here? Or do you actually believe Denver should be selling pieces before training camp even opens? I want to hear your take, because this fan base always brings the heat in the comment section, and I am here for every bit of it. We are getting closer and closer to training camp, and there is a lot brewing behind the scenes. There are some exciting interviews in the works over these next few weeks, and there's even a Denver trip being planned to get you boots on the ground coverage straight from training camp itself. It is shaping up to be an incredible run into this season, and Broncos country, there is a whole lot to believe in right now. If this video got you fired up, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me your take on these trade rumors, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time, because we are just getting started and you do not want to miss what's coming next. Broncos country, until next time, let's ride.